Hello, guys. Welcome back to Better Late. My name is Mariela for those of you who are tuning in for the first time. And for those of you that already know what's up, you know what's up. Thank you so much for everyone that's been commenting and liking and subscribing and sharing on your stories and listening. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You have no idea how much that helps me and how much it also excites me to keep going and to keep doing episodes for you. Speaking of comments, this is something that I don't think anyone tells you about the internet. And we're all aware that anyone can become viral at any point given, right? But we never know when it's going to happen for us. And this is not to say that I became viral, because that's not happening yet. However, I uploaded a TikTok video last week to my TikTok account, and it was basically right after I had an encounter with this guy. I was going to get my usual sushi, and I was on the phone sending a voice message to Lorenzo, actually. And I was getting out of my car and going to the restaurant, and I see this very handsome guy, which now that I think about it, I think I've seen him on a dating app before. That's why he maybe seemed a little familiar. Anyways, I see him. He sees me. He smiles at me. And I'm like sending my voice message, and you can ask Lorenzo if you want. I literally like wrapped it up. I was like, yeah. And then give me a second, because as I'm walking, there is a door that's like a glass door, and I can see the reflection of me and this guy. So I see this guy pass me by, and he turns around, stops, turns around, checks me out, and he doesn't do anything else. And I'm like, okay, I understand. My boy needs a little push. So I pretended that I needed to go back to my car and pick up something that I left, so I could give him the window of opportunity to approach. I do that. I know he's sitting in his car. Car's on. He's sitting. Nothing happens. And then I go get my sushi, and my life moves on, and it's great. But I decide when I get home to make a little video, just as a PSA for men, to, if you find someone cute, if you find someone attractive, why don't you just go? Guys, go. Women don't bite hard. And if we do, you'll enjoy it. Why didn't this guy do what I would have expected him to do, which was very rom-com of me, maybe, to, hey, what are you doing? What kind of sushi are you getting? Into that sashimi? I don't know, just like something. So we could, have that moment. Now, I'm aware that this guy may have had a girlfriend, a wife, may have been gay, may have been laughing at how I was very dramatically speaking on the phone, because that's how I do anything that I do. And I'm aware that maybe he just wasn't feeling himself and he just didn't want to do it. But I took the responsibility of creating a TikTok about it and saying to guys to take your shot. Like, shoot your shot. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So literally have nothing to lose. Oh my God. I started the video with saying this video is for guys and guys only. So if you're not a guy, keep scrolling, because I've seen other people do it. So I was like, okay, I'll just use the language. They did not mess around, because only men apparently saw this. The amount of comments that I got from men being like, well, you're so presumptuous and so conceited. Well, he dodged the bullet. Well, why didn't you talk to him? Why didn't you do something? Women are just waiting for... And I'm like, first of all, thank you so much for engaging with the video, because that's just actually helping me a lot. It doesn't matter if you're saying mean things. I don't care. Also, TikTok was weird, because one of these comments were like, well, you clearly he dodged the bullet because you're this and that. And I literally just commented, ew, dot. TikTok didn't let me post that. It said like I was violating some sort of regulation of whatever. And I'm like, right, it's great to insult someone and tell them they're presumptuous or they're this or that or conceited, but just saying ew apparently is very guide violating. rule follower breaker. So that was my experience with being viral. This was not viral. I probably had like, I don't know, 5,000 views, but it made me think about how we're not ready to get comments from everyone. Damn, sometimes I don't even like when my dad gives me comments, and he literally was one of the reasons why I'm in this world. Or we don't like when some people that are in our loving circle give us, their feedback. But when a complete stranger tells you something, it's so weird because, and Lorenzo and I, we were talking about this, how truly when you post something on TikTok, someone might post and comment something on your video, and it's like so heartfelt, and it feels like they're so passionate about it, and they're literally just right about to scroll into another video and just move on from their lives. I think it's interesting that, that didn't happen 20 years ago. Like, we didn't know hate like that. Not that I received hate. Honestly, that was just really funny to me because I was just like, well, the Incel Academy has opened up its doors because all these people, clearly, I looked up at their Instagrams. None of them seem like well-adjusted men of society. I'll just say that. Anyways. But that also was so funny how some of these people were like, oh, you should have done something. It's like, clearly they don't know me because I do that all the time. Guys, working at a restaurant has a perk. You can be a cute romantic comedy moment anytime. Anytime. Drop a check, phone number. Hi, and this ice cream's just for you. I've never done that. You can get fired for giving away free food if your manager does not approve it. But have I gone out on dates with people that I've met at a restaurant? Yes. Have I gotten a phone call or a text from someone that I found attractive and I approached and I was like, hey, I think you're cute and, are you single? Whatever. I'm not one of those people. I cannot live with a what if. My entire life at this point is built upon not having what ifs. Exhibit A. What if I did a podcast? And here we are. What if I moved to the States? What if I created a demo for a radio show and sent it out to different stations? What if I submitted myself for a casting for a reality TV show? What if everything? I just don't like having a question in your mind that is going to burn until the end of time of what would have happened if you would have done something. What would have happened if you overcame your fear of rejection or if you overcame the fear of the unknown and just did things. I personally can't. At this point in my life, I cannot. Like, if I want to know something, I'll ask it. I will do it. I will perform it. I will try to see it out just because I don't think it helps with anxiety to have all these crazy scenarios of what would have happened. I know that I would have never wanted to, for example, stay in my home country in a career that I really enjoyed and everything, and wondered what would have happened if I decided to take a leap and do something different, or if I decided to put myself out there, or, all these different things that, can you imagine the amount of things that you've done and that you've accomplished for yourself and you've been courageous and brave to do and pursue? Can you imagine what would have happened if you didn't do those things? A lot of people probably still have a lot of what ifs in their minds. I remember this is something really sweet. My grandma on my mom's side, she is now in heaven, but I remember when I graduated from school, from college, she went to this little gathering my dad organized for me. And I remember she was like, keep pursuing the dream because I didn't do it. And I know your mom wanted it too. So keep pursuing your dream for both of us. It doesn't matter who tells you anything. Just keep doing it. And this is coming from someone who got married at 16 and started popping out babies. For crying out loud, she had 8 kids. And just there wasn't any room for her to wonder these things because it was just like the set thing. So if in the times we're living now, you have the absolute freedom to try out these what ifs. Why wouldn't you? What's the best that can happen? I mean, your dreams come true. What's the worst that can happen? You have a hell of a story to tell. Just do it for the freaking plot. Just do it for the plot. What happens? Like, are you really gonna drop dead and is Earth gonna swallow you if you ask a guy if they're single and they say, actually, no? Or actually, I'm gay? Or actually, I think you're horrendous? No one's gonna say that. And if they do, you can punch them. You can tell them, I sent you. I don't know. I think for anyone that needs to hear this, go pursue your what ifs. Don't leave them unattended because they will torture you. And truly, magic happens on the other side of fear. The other side of fear is insane. So good. You just need to little bunny hop onto that side. Because then great things happen. Bad things can happen too, obviously. But as you grow older, I think you get aware of the multiple situations. For me, this has helped. Like, if I'm going to make a decision, I try to be conscious of all the possible scenarios. When I was a little younger, like in my early 20s or so, I was always prepared for doom. I was like always preparing myself for the worst case scenario to happen. And that's also not nice. You can't be like always considering that everything is going to go wrong. It helps. It definitely helps because then if what you're hoping for doesn't happen, well, you were already prepared for, not that. But I don't think it brings good juju to things. I try now to be like, all right, let's freaking roll. This is going to be as good as it gets. This is going to be amazing. And it's going to turn out exactly the way I want it. If not, I have another story to tell. And now, hell, I have a podcast to tell the stories at. What up? Yeah, the what ifs have been something that I think when I was younger, like I just had so many of them. So they're like my personal vendetta now. I remember, I haven't told you guys this, but I think it's time to tell you that I was in a reality show. Yeah, you know how I dropped it a little earlier. Yeah, I'm going to assume some of you had some questions about that. No, this was not The Bachelor. No, this was not The Bachelorette. No, this was not in the United States of America. This was in Venezuela, in this little reality show we called Chica y Venezuela. Yeah, and they did it for several years, and it was like Latin America's efforts to find the new good host or like the new fresh person to be part of their, like staff or cast of interviewers and journalists and all in this like pop culture and entertainment thing. And I was raised by my dad, and then for a long time also entertainment television. I would religiously watch E-News like it was the actual important news to know. I don't know. I had friends, I guess, but this just filled me more. You know that scene from Sex and the City when Carrie Bradshaw is like, I had this amount of dollars, and I was thinking, should I get a Cosmo or should I get a Cosmopolitan like their magazine, or should I get a burger? And I got the Cosmopolitan because it fed me more. It fed me more. And I wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for all that. And I wouldn't have tried to live out my life as a E! True Hollywood Story so that I can have an E! True Hollywood Story at some point if it didn't have that in my roots. So there, bam. So I was in this reality show, but for years, I thought that was just not meant for me. That was just not meant for me. That was just meant for girls that were perfect looking and that were models and that were of this very particular look. In Venezuela, we have this obsession with beauty. I know you think here in the States we do too. Yeah, probably. But in Venezuela, it's kind of like really toxic. I think it's gotten better, but Miss Venezuela just means that if you're tall, everyone is already going to assume that you should be a beauty queen, that you should be in a beauty pageant. It's like the one very social event that happens once a year that everyone in Venezuela would gather in their homes to watch. And we would all have a favorite. Obviously, your favorite was the person that was representing your state, right? But it was like a whole thing. It was like the best platform, I would say, for entertainment in Venezuela. If you wanted to do acting, if you wanted to be a presenter, if you wanted to freaking give the real news, like actual like, and now the late night news, yes, a lot of those girls were misses first, Miss Venezuelas or contestants or like finalists and all of that. And for a long time, I grew up being a tall girl, a big girl. I've always been curvy. I've always had like, big big features. But I was overweight, and I remember people always telling me, like people that even didn't like they didn't even know me. They were like, "Oh my God, if you only lost that weight, look at that face and that height." And that just kind of made it my personal revenge. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to. I absolutely admire the women that have gone through that process because it is like high intensity, like athlete level training, like the diets that they have to do and the amount of training that they need to do, not just for their bodies to look a certain way, but also to fit the mold of how you should talk and how you should respond to answers, and how you should do your hair and eyes and makeup and the whole thing. And like, spoiler alert, they all look the same. But that was kind of like the status quo in Venezuela. I had friends that at 15 years old, their present was a boob job. So many of them got a boob job as a present for their 15-year-old, like quinceañera present. And that's wild. Because why? Instead of, I guess it's too, evolved now to think about it that way. But I wish the culture there would have been more towards accept yourself and love yourself instead of, oh, if only you change this one thing, then you could have this one thing. So I never wanted to do it. I don't think I would have had the discipline for it. So it didn't happen for me. And then there was this one thing, though, that was the Chica y Venezuela thing that I had seen people do, and I was so sure that I could do. I was so sure that I had the talent for what these girls were doing. All the challenges they did, all of the, different questions they were asked about and all the things. I was like, dude, I know this. Like, are you kidding me? Celebrity culture is my Bible. So for a long time, I kind of kept myself from applying and submitting myself just because I didn't look the way those girls looked. And there was one year that I couldn't escape it. It was everywhere. I remember in my university, there were posters everywhere. Are you the next Chica Y? It could be you. It was like that thing of like, it was haunting me almost. Every time I turned on the TV, it was there. Every time I was driving in my car, on the radio, there was an ad. Patricia Zavala, who's like, I think one of the best Chica Ys that we've ever had. And she eventually, she was a Chica Y, right? Patricia Zavala? Yeah, she was probably the OG. I can't even remember her for that because she has done so many things afterwards that it's like, how did you, she became one of the most renowned interviewers of E! Entertainment because she had such a great English level that she was talking to all the celebrities. She had several shows, and to this day, I think she's a great artist. And I was like, okay, that is where I want to go. That is where I'm pointing towards, and that's what I want to do. And this one year, it just couldn't escape me anymore. And I grabbed two of my best friends from school, and I was like, guys, I kind of want to do an audition video. Would you be down? And because we were all in film school, they were like, oh my God, yes. So it was just a new little project to do. And I did it. And I qualified in more than 25,000 people that submitted themselves. I qualified to be part of 25. And part of the 25 meant that I got to be part of the show, even if just for the first episode, because this edition, they actually wanted to do a reality TV. Very American, America's Next Top Model style, where there was a challenge and then elimination, challenge, elimination, and tons of drama in between, obviously. So I submitted myself. I got there. And then on the 25, I ended up becoming the first one to be selected for the top 5. And that was pretty freaking cool. I felt like my dreams were coming true. I felt like the pieces were finally falling where they needed to be. And I was beginning my journey in this like stardom thing. I don't know. It felt really cool. We shot for a whole week for 6 days. And that was aired during 6 weeks. Every Monday, prime time on E Entertainment Television, there was an episode. I got eliminated, I think third. Yeah, I was the third one to get third one. Yeah, potentially. Second one? I don't know. I made it far. Just so you know, I made it far. But the important part of the story is that afterwards, we had to do a press tour. And that press tour would actually be the foundation for my career because we had to go to TV stations, we had to go to radio stations, and we were there to promote the show. And we couldn't say who won, even though we all knew we didn't win. I didn't know who actually won until the end, but we didn't know. What we did know, I'm so confusing right now. What we did know was that I was not the winner, right? But I saw this as an opportunity for people to get to know me anyways. Even if I didn't win, I was still going to be on air for 5 out of 6 episodes. And when interviewed, I was always excited about it and really just promoting it and wanting people to see it because I wanted to people to know that I had this thing that I wanted to share with the world. And from that, I ended up getting a call from a really good friend. Now she's a really good friend. Before she was my boss. She called me and she was like, "Hey, you were here promoting this show, and I remember you were talking about how you like radio and TV and stuff, and we're looking for a producer for entertainment for a show." And I said, "Let's freaking go." So that's how I got my first job ever in the industry. Also, how I got so many followers. I got like, I don't know, 5,000 followers just like there, take them. Now I have them and I don't really know what to do with them. I have them there. I don't know if they expected me to be part of E Entertainment Television or what. I'm still trying, guys. Maybe. We never know. Now I'm actually here in the Mecca. Um, but yeah, it was a very interesting experience being in a reality show, and it is real. Everything you see is real. However, producers are definitely little marionette jugglers. Is that, how do you say? Like, they definitely play you like a freaking marionette. They don't tell you what to say, but they definitely create the situations for you to say things that they want you to say. And that's the money. And I learned it later. I think I got a villain edit. I don't know. I was just doing my thing. They knew what they were doing too. And now when I see reality shows, I'm like, oh, yep, this person's being the villain. But when you see someone yell at someone and grab them by the hair and do crazy shit, no one's telling them to do that. They're doing that themselves. There's no edit that can make you, go that crazy. So, wow, what a time. That was one of my biggest what ifs, I think. No one thought that I could do it. But I did. And with that, it seemed to be enough. For me, it was. And since that, I've had this thing of like, I want to put myself in positions where opportunities are around me and I believe in myself. So that's enough. And you should believe in yourself too. And that is enough. And whoever tells you different is just not with it. Not with it. Another thing that I wanted to say today that I've been thinking about a lot are friendships. And I mentioned it on the last episode, how you should have friends that say your name in a place where there's room for opportunities for you. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be friends with them. I think one of the heartbreaks that are the most hard to get over and that are the hardest to process are friendship breakups. I know we've all had them. I know we've all experienced in some way or another. I've had a few in my life, and it's so sad. It's really sad to know that someone that you shared everything with and that you shared so many laughters and so many cries and so many moments is just not in your life anymore. So I want to bring this out kind of like as a PSA. If you feel like there's a friendship that's no longer for you, you should definitely not engage in that relationship anymore, but do have a conversation. Have a conversation because you owe that person that. You know what I mean? I remember I had a really, really close friend of mine, the one person that I knew in LA when I moved here. And right after I moved, things kind of changed. And I started to feel like he just didn't want to be a part of my life anymore. And that I was bothering whenever I was reaching out. And it's gone to the point where if I see him on the street, sometimes we'll ignore each other. Sometimes we'll acknowledge each other. But there was one time where I was working at the restaurant that I worked at 2 years ago. And he came in with a girl, with a friend. And he treated me like we didn't know each other. He treated me like I was just a random server. And this is someone that I graduated from the same university with, that we did our final thesis together, that we shared so much, and we kind of held each other from afar for a long time. And now that we were in the same place, it felt like we could do that from up close again. That one's a doozy. So I always felt like I would have wanted that last conversation, or like literally what happened, what did I do, but if you're feeling like you're in a similar situation with someone where they just don't fit in your life anymore, they're giving you more anxiety than they're giving you, support or joy or love, it's totally fine to end things. But don't be a ghoster. No one likes a ghoster. Are people ghosting these days anymore? In romantic relationships, though? Like, why? For me, I don't know if it's because of my age or just because of my dating track. I've gone to a milestone where I don't ghost people. I also don't go out with as much people as I used to anymore because my tune of compatibility is a little bit better. I think it's fine-tuned to like, oh yeah, there's no chance that there's anything here. So the awkward, like, hi, I just didn't feel the spark doesn't really happen too often. But if it did, it's so easy to be like, hey, thank you so much for dinner. Thank you so much for chatting, whatever it is that you guys did. Just send a text. Hey, I don't really feel like we're good for each other, or I don't know if I'm into this that much, but you're great. Good luck. Bye. That's it. And if you're on the other side as a ghostee, like I have been, a ghostee, someone that's been ghosted, girl or boy, you're doing so much better without that person in your life. Because can you only imagine what communication would have been like with that person that couldn't even tell you that they didn't want to see you anymore? Can you imagine actually being in a relationship with them and trying to get anything out of them? Oh my God. Yes, good riddance. I am hot today. I'm burning up. It's only 19 degrees out, but I'm burning up because I'm used to things being cold. I also have like this sauna in my studio these days. I don't want to pay for high electric bills, okay? It's rough out here. All right. Well, it's been lovely talking to you guys again. I think every episode I get more in tune with who's listening, and I kind of want to talk to each one of you as if you're the only one that's listening to this thing. But it's been great. I hope what I said today, I don't know, gets you somewhere or makes you. Okay. What if after this episode, you think about that one situation that you've had in your mind for a while? It's been like a little shark, just like, grab that one that you're like, I wish I could do this, but I'm scared. Do it. What if you do it? And I would love for you to comment and tell me which those situations are and how they went, if you actually did approach them. Or if you need a little bit more time, it's all good. It's all good. Because you know what we say here? It's better late than never, right? All right, guys. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next Sunday. And remember to follow, subscribe, like, comment, all the things. Share everything you see that you like. And we'll talk soon. Bye.